Hi everyone, you're welcome back to my channel. I've missed you guys so much. In today's tutorial, I'll be showing you how to make the trending kimono dress. I made use of an Ankara fabric and the amount of the fabric I worked with is 3 yards. If you want a shorter kimono, you can work with 2 yards. If you want a midi length kimono, you should work with 2.5 yards. The first step is to fold the fabric equally into 2 as shown. Kindly take note that if you are working with a 2 yards of fabric or 2.5 yards of fabric, you are also going to follow through the same folding method as shown. After folding into 2 equally, I'll go ahead to further fold it into 2. So I practically folded this fabric into 4. The idea of folding this fabric into 4 is to cut both the front piece and the back piece at the same time. But take note that the front piece neckline is usually different from the back piece neckline. But let's start by marking just the neckline for the back piece. The length of the neckline I marked is 1.5 inches, while the width is 3 inches. The next step is to connect both points together in form of a square so you can easily get a curved neckline. Alright, so this is the neckline for just the back piece of the kimono. The next step is to mark the neckline for the front piece. I placed the starting of the tape on the folded part of the Ankara to mark 16 inches in length. Then I connected it to the neck width as shown. Alright, so we have the neckline for the front piece and we also have the neckline for the back piece. So the next thing I did was to place my tape vertically to mark the bust points. My actual bust point is 8 inches, but I added 2 inches sewing allowance to that to make it 10 inches. The reason I added 2 inches allowance to the length of the bust points is to make sure that when the dress is worn, you don't find it difficult to raise your hand. To know the appropriate wideness of this dress, you divide your bust measurement into 4 and you mark. Then you also had about 4 inches sewing allowance to the side, so the dress isn't small or too large. The next step is to extend these points vertically downwards to the end of the fabric. At this point, there will be a need for you to create a curve so that after sewing, it prevents the lower part of the armhole from squeezing. The next step is to cut out just the back neckline. Do not cut out the front neckline now, because if you do, it's going to give you the same shape for both the front and the back. The next step is to cut the sides of the dress. So I have been able to cut out both the front piece and the back piece of the kimono at once. Now I'm going to spread out the folded fabric to cut out just the neckline for the front piece. After spreading out the fabric, I folded it in such a way that both sleeves are facing each other as shown. At this stage, you should cut out the neckline for the front piece as it won't affect the back piece. The next step is to slit this folded side of the front piece into 2, so it helps you to create the opening in front of the kimono. Alright, so we've completed about 85% of the process. We have about 15% left. And if you have followed me through this tutorial to this point, I want to thank you for always being consistent. So I went ahead to place the front piece on the back piece, making sure that both sides are equal. The next step is to fold the sleeve opening. So I'm going to make the first fold 1 inch and also fold it for the second time 1 inch to secure it with a straight stitch, and also repeat the same folding method for the second sleeve. I've secured the sleeve opening for both sleeves, and the next step is to secure the sides of the dress by 1 inch. So I've secured both sides of the dress, and the next step is to attach a band to the front slit of the kimono. So to do this, I'm going to take the measurements of the slit so I can easily know the length of the band. So this measurement will be taken by placing the tape from the bottom edge of the slit as shown, and I'll just keep taking the slit measurements all through the round neck. Obviously this has taken the entire tape, which is about 62 inches. So I'm just going to place the starting of the tape at this point to measure it down to the end of the kimono, and whatever I get, I'm going to add it to 62 inches, and that will give me the entire length measurement. But I will also advise you not to use the exact measurements you get from this opening, because in situations like this, there's a possibility that the band might be shorter than the opening after it has been attached. So I would advise you to add about extra 4 inches or 5 inches allowance to the length of the band that you'll be attaching to the opening. So I've shown you how I got the length of the band, and the width of the band I made use of is 4 inches. Now I went ahead to fold this band into 2, so it gives me 2 inches, and by the time I attach it to the opening of my kimono by half an inch, I'm sure the wideness of the band will be 1.5 inches. The next step is to place the folded band from the bottom of the opening to stitch it all through by half inch. The final step is to secure the hem by folding it 1 inch in and further folding it by 1 inch. Thank you for watching to the very end. I hope this tutorial was helpful. I've not been available for some months now, and I want to use this medium to say I'm sorry. And if you would like to ask questions, feel free to drop your message on the comment section, and I'll surely respond. And also I'll be dropping the link to the Telegram group where you can also communicate with other soulmates who are willing to assist you.